Welcome to a space where broken souls find their strength. If you're carrying the weight of old regrets, if your mind keeps circling back to moments you wish you could change, if you feel stuck watching life pass you by while you're frozen in yesterday, this message is meant for you. The real obstacle isn't always external. It's not always the world or other people holding you back. Sometimes, the heaviest anchor is the one you're dragging behind yourself. That lingering memory. That mistake you replay. That disappointment. That wound that won't seem to close. That quiet voice telling you that you've fallen too far to rise again. But here's what I need you to know. You don't actually live in that place anymore. Not really. You live in this moment. Right now. And from right now, you have the absolute power to begin something completely new. Over the next several minutes, I'm going to walk you through 9 transformative principles. These aren't quick fixes or empty inspiration. These are deep, practical truths about how to genuinely recover from your pain. Reconstruct your sense of self-worth. Shield your mental energy, retrain your thinking patterns, and create a meaningful, new existence, one built on authentic strength, genuine peace, and real purpose. This isn't just motivational speech. This is wisdom shared from one person who's been broken to another who is breaking, telling you that reconstruction is possible, no matter what you've endured, no matter what you've sacrificed, no matter how lost you feel right now, something inside you remains. Something the darkness hasn't touched. And today, we're going to wake it up. Principle 1. Release what no longer serves youth. First step, and the most challenging, is learning to let go as long as you're gripping tightly. 2. Whatever damaged you, your hands are too full to reach for what could heal you. I need to be clear about what this really means. Releasing isn't about forgetting. It's not about pretending what happened was acceptable. It's not about weakness or pretense. Letting go simply means you're selecting peace over persistent pain. You're choosing forward momentum over guilt. You're selecting presence over endless mental loops. Here's the difficult truth. Your mind is a time travel machine. Without intention, will carry you backward again and again and again unless you deliberately interrupt that pattern. Releasing means you stop allowing an old wound to define your present. You stop reopening it each time you replay the memory. You permit it to become simply part of your story, not the foundation of who you are. Why do we cling so fiercely? Because attachment even to pain provided something. Maybe a sense of identity. Maybe a reason to stay small and safe. Maybe it felt like protection, as if releasing it meant betraying yourself or handing victory to someone else. But listen carefully. You are not the suffering you experienced. You are the individual who endured it and continued forward. Think of a mountain climber carrying an overloaded backpack. Old journals, shattered keepsakes, stones collected from every disappointment. He believed he needed everything. Yet with each step higher, the weight multiplied. His breathing became labored. His legs weakened. Surrender seemed closer than the summit. An older guide approached and simply said, "The mountain isn't what's exhausting you. Your burden is." Traveler shed item after item. Letters went first, then the mementos, then the stones, and gradually, he felt weightless. His steps became lighter. The mountain didn't transform. He did through releasing. Your situation mirrors this precisely. You're not weak. You're simply carrying yesterday's load on your shoulders. Repeat this to yourself. I am not the harm that occurred to me. I am not my mistakes. I am not my losses. I am not my defeats. I remain a select peace now. Genuine peace doesn't emerge when you finally comprehend what happened. It arrives when you stop needing to comprehend it. When you deliberately begin setting things down, one piece at a time, your chest expands. Your thinking clarifies. The constant mental replay begins to quiet. Sleep returns. Space opens for fresh possibilities. Releasing isn't a singular moment. It's a choice you make repeatedly, every single day. Principle 2. Reconstruct your inner strength. There arrives a particular moment in every wounded person's timeline. You look at yourself and whisper, "I no longer recognize who I've become." If that's your story, if failure, heartbreak, or betrayal have dismantled your confidence, if shame or loss have made you doubt your own capabilities, this principle is your blueprint for resurrection. I want to tell you something that matters. You absolutely can rebuild. Not into a replica of your former self, but into someone demonstrably stronger, clearer, wiser, and more genuinely powerful. The truth is that pain doesn't only wound us, it transforms us. When someone shatters your trust, when repeated attempts result in failure, when your aspirations are ridiculed, when you exert yourself completely and still come up short, you begin questioning everything. Your abilities, your intelligence, your worth. This corrosion of confidence happens quietly. Not in dramatic moments, but in small instances of doubt that accumulate. And here's the issue. When confidence erodes, you retreat. You stop attempting. you silence yourself. The world never witnesses your full capability, but your complete potential hasn't been revealed yet. You're still unfinished. Let's address a misconception. Authentic confidence isn't theatrical or egotistical. It's not performed strength. Genuine confidence is quiet self-respect. It's the ability to trust yourself to navigate challenges. It's comfort with uncertainty. It's standing back up after being knocked down. It's saying, I'm afraid, and I'm doing this anyway. Confidence isn't about flawlessness. It's about feeling fundamentally safe inside yourself, regardless of external circumstances. Begin with modest commitments to yourself. Forget ambitious targets right now. Simply perform one small thing you committed to doing. Hydrate first thing in the morning. Move your body for just 5 minutes. Organize one small corner. Say one sentence aloud in your target language. Why does this matter? Each time you honor a promise to yourself, your internal dialogue shifts. Perhaps I can depend on myself again. Confidence is rooted in self-trust, not external validation. Eliminate the comparison trap. One reason you experience devastation is you're measuring yourself against your former version. Against others, against airbrushed images online, but you're contrasting your struggle with someone else's performance. Your breakdown with their carefully selected moments. Your messy recovery with their curated presentation. That's fundamentally unfair. Stop it. Your only genuine competition is yesterday's version of you. Your internal monologue becomes your lived reality. If you constantly repeat, I can't do this, I'm incapable, I'm failing, you construct a prison from your own words. Instead, try this. I'm developing. I'm strengthening. I've already proven I can survive. I'm imperfect, and I'm still trying. Speak about yourself like you're someone worthy of care, because you genuinely are. Celebrate every small victory. Did you attempt something that frightened you today? That's courageous. Did you show up despite exhaustion? That demonstrates commitment. Did you reject a self-defeating thought? That's genuine strength. When you recognize these incremental wins, your nervous system understands. This is growth. This is progress. Confidence doesn't emerge from single, monumental achievements. It accumulates from consistent small choices, stacked upon each other like building blocks. Transform your struggles into insight. Don't conceal your pain, acknowledge it. Own it. Channel it. Say this aloud. This heartache taught me genuine connection. This failure revealed what requires adjustment. This rejection showed me my resilience. Difficulty doesn't diminish you. It illuminates parts of yourself you didn't recognize. You perceive deeper. You comprehend broader. You feel more intensely. You rise with greater fortitude. The confidence, born from having endured, is unshakable. You've witnessed the worst already. Fear holds less power. Consider a young student who stumbled during a performance. The audience laughed. She fled in tears. For weeks, she couldn't return. But then she made a decision. Every morning, she stood before a mirror declaring, I will attempt again. I'm not defined by this stumble. I'm learning. Daily, she rehearsed just one element at a time. Gradually, steadily. Then one day, she volunteered again. Her voice trembled. Her eyes revealed her fear, but her bearing displayed strength. She completed it. She didn't just pass the test. She shattered the barrier of self-doubt. You aren't broken, you're recalibrating. You aren't delayed, you're recovering. You aren't powerless. You're rewiring. You aren't lost. You're relearning trust in yourself. This transformation requires time, but each movement forward is a step toward who you're meant to become. Don't rush. Don't perform recovery. Don't chase perfection. Simply continue building. One act of bravery, one compassionate word to yourself, one determined step, and eventually, you'll stand tall again, not as someone who was never damaged, but as someone who rose when rising seemed impossible. That's genuine strength. That's you. Principle 3. Safeguard your energy and maintain resilience. There's a turning point in recovery when you comprehend something important. It's not only your past that keeps hurting you, it's what you permit. In your present, that creates ongoing wounds. You might be actively releasing resentment. You might be rebuilding your confidence. You might be working hard to disengage from painful patterns. Yet, if you continuously surround yourself with draining individuals, degrading conversations, emotionally harmful spaces, and constant painful reminders, you're attempting to recuperate within an active battle zone. That's why this principle transcends simple advice. It's your survival strategy. What you're genuinely protecting is the most precious resource you possess, your energy. Most discussions focus on inspiration, yet inspiration is temporary. It fluctuates. Energy is deeper. It encompasses your mental space, your emotional well-being, your inner stability, your capacity to concentrate, your sense of self-value, your drive to persist. And what depletes energy most severely? Not hardship itself, not genuine effort, but the individuals, thought patterns, and routines that drain you gradually, invisibly. Let's identify the primary energy drainers. First, revisiting the past repeatedly, replaying scenarios endlessly, constructing alternate histories. These mental loops consume tremendous energy. Your mind has already absorbed that injury. Allowing it to wound you repeatedly in memory is voluntary suffering. Second, individuals who pull your energy downward. These are people who consistently communicate negativity, ridicule your ambitions, spread rumors, criticize, and weaponize guilt when you express emotion. You don't need animosity toward them. You require protection from them. Third, the compulsion to earn acceptance from everyone. Saying yes when you mean no. Concealing your truth. Working harder simply to belong. Each concession chips away at your core self. Fourth, purposeless digital browsing. Ours dissolve. Nothing learned. No genuine rest occurring. Only comparisons spiraling. By day's end, you feel drained, inadequate, and distorted. Fifth, inheriting other struggles as your own. Attempting to repair everyone. Absorbing family tension. Managing your partner's emotions. Sacrificing your stability to rescue others. This is slow destruction. Now, let's build your protective framework. First, grant yourself permission to establish boundaries. You owe nobody unlimited access to your inner world, your minutes, or your emotional resources. Simply because someone shares your space doesn't mean they inhabit your consciousness. Speak this aloud. I defend my peace. I govern my energy. I determine what I permit. You're not unkind. You're not self-centered. You're recovering. And that's sacred work. Establish quiet boundaries. You needn't dramatically cut people off. Defending your energy sometimes means offering less, responding slowly, remaining silent during conflict, maintaining pleasant distance, or extending love from a distance. You're not administering punishment. You're practicing self-preservation. Conduct energy audits each evening. Question yourself. Who generated peace for me today? Who consumed my vitality? Which thoughts supported healing? Which thoughts undermined it? Based on these answers, I'll direct more energy toward what sustains me and remove energy from what diminishes me. Accept being misunderstood. When you establish boundaries, others might label you distant. Some will claim you've altered. Others might attempt guilt. Some will play victim. Your former self was excessively generous. Your evolving self practices wisdom. Remain steady. You don't owe clarification to those who disrespected your limits in the first place. Establish your personal sanctuary. Identify a location, routine, or practice where you regenerate daily. A brief walk without distractions. Peaceful music. Recording yourself speaking in your target language. Journaling your thoughts. Consuming water intentionally. Sitting in silence. Identifying 3 things you value. Your sanctuary is where you reconnect with this truth. I'm not adrift. I'm growing. I'm healing. I'm sufficient. There was a man perpetually defending himself. Every slight comment, he countered. Every judgment, he clarified. Every manipulation, he excused. Then he changed his approach. He started responding with a calm smile and silence. He said nothing. He provided no reaction. Gradually, his peace returned. He understood something essential. You don't require victory in every exchange. You require recovery of your energy. You're not depleted because you're inadequate. You're exhausted because you allocate energy to what doesn't warrant you. Beginning today, you cease chasing people. You stop requesting attention. You refrain from justifying your value. You decline battles that compromise your well-being. Starting now, you safeguard your energy. You protect your advancement. You defend your peace like your existence depends on it. Because it absolutely does. Principle 4. Reprogram your thinking. Patterns. You might have physically exited the circumstance. The separation is finalized. The position is gone. The person is moved away. The period has concluded. Yet somehow, the sting remains vivid. The recollection still possesses you. You're performing ordinary tasks, brushing your teeth, enjoying an evening, and suddenly the past crashes in like an unwanted intrusion. Why? Because your circumstances have shifted, but your neural patterns haven't caught up. Your body relocated. Your awareness remained. And lest you deliberately retrain your mind to return to the present moment, you'll remain imprisoned in a feedback loop, one that robs you of ours, vitality, and tranquility. Let's interrupt that cycle. Your mind isn't adversarial, it's attempting protection. It resurrects the past seeking comprehension. It wants to sidestep future injury. It pursues lessons. Sometimes it simply wants to enforce punishment due to guilt. But here's the obstacle. Your mind isn't a healer. It's a recorder. It perpetuates what it remembers, not because it's accurate, But because it's familiar, genuine transformation doesn't begin with determination. It begins with rewiring your brain. When your thoughts suddenly jump backward, interrupt the pattern immediately. Say aloud, "This is simply a thought, not current reality. This occurrence concluded. It's not happening now. Why is this effective?" Your brain cannot distinguish between memory and lived experience. That's why your physiology reacts to recollections as if they're presently occurring. But when you name it simply a thought, not fact to interrupt the involuntary reaction, here's a straightforward technique anyone can implement. When you're absorbed in the past, do this. Identify 5 elements you observe, 4 objects you can feel, 3 sounds you can hear, 2 scents you recognize, 1 thing you appreciate. This exercise pulls your awareness back to the present instant. Your consciousness cannot simultaneously concentrate on injury and tranquility. When you cultivate peace, distress diminishes. Transform your internal dialogue regarding what occurred. Stop expressing, "I devastated my existence. I was foolish. I cannot forgive myself. They demolished me." Begin expressing, "I lacked understanding then, but I've learned. I wasn't foolish. I was emotional, genuine, and evolving. They caused suffering, but I persisted. That chapter finished. I'm composing a new one." Language restructures. Belief restructures your experience to reality. Reuse encounters with triggers. Sometimes your consciousness is functioning adequately until a particular song plays, a photograph emerges, or you browse old communications again. That single instance draws you backward 20 steps. Don't reopen a closing wound. You don't require elimination of everything, yet grant yourself temporal distance from prior communications, spaces filled with memories, objects that intensify recollection. It's not vulnerability, it's termed emotional restoration. Build fresh behavioral patterns. Here's the secret. Your consciousness doesn't disengage from the past because you commanded it to. It disengages when it's constructing something innovative. Therefore, provide it something better to contemplate. Absorb 5 novel vocabulary terms daily. Take a 10-minute walk while consuming a motivational talk. Read a single page each day. Compose 3 reflections each evening. Rehearse this each morning. Today is completely new. I'm choosing peace. You're substituting the old pattern with a novel one that produces vitality, not anguish. Fresh routines. Reconfigure your mind. Novel thinking generates novel existence. There was someone unable to rest for months. Not from stress or medical conditions, but because they continuously relived. The moment their partner departed, each nocturnal session meant re-experiencing that day. A guide suggested 3 actions. First, declare, "That was an instant. I am not confined to that moment." Second, record 1 affirmative statement regarding your future each evening. Third, walk for 15 minutes each morning, repeating, "I exist beyond my previous location. I exist in my present." Subsequent to 60 days, sleep returned. Why? He educated his mind to cease revisiting anguish and commence experiencing the moment.